Back home in the Changbai Mountains, when it was dark and the area was still dark, I took my girlfriend, Mai, up the hill to pick mushrooms, and from a distance, I saw what looked like a dark shadow at the head of the cornfield, at the edge of the old forest, but it was too tall and too big, and when I tried to get a closer look, the shadow disappeared, and I had a vague feeling that something wasn't right, and I pulled Mai quietly back to her home, but she complained of abdominal pains, so she looked for a lump of earth to keep her eyes peeled. And then all of a sudden, a crash and a clattering of the leaves of the corn, as if something big and alive had come quickly across the field and was heading towards us. I instantly counted down with my arms in my mouth, and then the sound of the cornfield disappeared, and Mai suddenly said, "Don't pull my hair," and she screamed, and then she stopped. I rushed over to the earth lumps and saw that she was sitting on the ground, covering her face, and she said in a muffled voice, "I've always felt that there's something wrong with her." But I couldn't make it out, and a peculiarly fishy stench wafted over, and, oh shit no. I'm gonna kill myself to cover his mouth, and keep quiet. The smell was so strong, it meant he'd just tried someone. My heart dropped in my throat, hoping he wouldn't find out, but Mac couldn't stop himself from sneezing. It was killing me. He took off running, and there was dead silence, not even a thud, and suddenly Mac said, "Stop running." "Where?" "Cannibalistic skins, and nothing alive but us." I couldn't breathe, so I said, "If you don't want to be eaten, don't make a sound." He was nearby. I could smell him, so I lay on my back, more calmly, but I felt that he was heavier than usual. And I suddenly remembered that the worst thing about cannibalistic skins is that they pretend to be the one who's been eaten to eat the next person. And my heart trembled. I instinctively felt that I was not quite right, but I didn't have the strength to tell the difference. So I ran like hell, and I ran all the way to the house. I rushed into the yard and bolted the gate behind me. My father asked strangely, "What's this? What's the matter?" "We've been kicked out by a fool's robe. I've been going up and down to the court, only to fight." "Father, we met a cannibal at the edge of the old forest." My father didn't say a word. "We've lived here for decades, and we've never seen any." My mother, on the other hand, turned pale. Max said the books are all. "I don't dare to talk about it." "Dad, I don't dare to talk about it. Is it possible that we've come across the mountain the other day?" When I was at school a few days ago, my mother told me that a bear had eaten 5 cows in one night, and that no matter how powerful they were, the old palace cows, when they heard the bear's roar, they immediately shivered and eventually collapsed, obediently eaten. The bear ate the cows from the neck down to the tails, leaving the bulls and the 4 legs lying down in the same way, as if they were lying on their backs. I say that the man we met today is a cannibal, who feeds on the people of whatever village he's near. And now that he's in the vicinity of our village, it's dangerous for us, as Mai says. How can you be so sure when you haven't seen it for decades? I'm sure I'm right. I'm a zoologist. Bear skins smell like rot. Only cannibal skins have a distinctive fishy odor, like wheat, because the smell comes from the sweat glands after cannibalism. The stench isn't from my diarrhea, but last night I ate blood sausage and got indigestion. And the sound of it running through the cornfields isn't just any animal. And the big wild boar weighs 400 to 500 pounds. And there's other big creatures in the mountains. So how does that make it a cannibalistic skin? Don't scare yourself, man. That's why my father and mother are so relieved. I'm sorry, I'm just saying, I don't think it's true. What's the matter with them? They believed in Mai's words. I was anxious. The shadow we saw at the head of the cornfield should be the one my mother smiled at and said, "I've got a son, you're the one." I've forgotten that at this time of the year, everyone goes up to the mountains at 3 or 4 in the morning to collect mushrooms.